Okay, I watched the interview on Arise TV yesterday between Charles Aniagolu and Ogbeide ISIBOR about the Edo State Government claimed $250 million deal with EuroAfrica CCI. To be honest, it was an important conversation. However, there are some parts of that interview I want to respond to, because Ogbeide is from the opposition party, yeah? But it was clear he struggled with some of the questions, maybe because he hasn't investigated as deeply as I have. Because some of the questions, some of those same questions are questions I already asked EuroAfrica CCI directly. And I have answers. So let's go through them together, okay? But before we go through those questions, let's start with Charles.
If somebody says they checked,
Yes.
and comes up with their own assessment based on whatever colorations they have, you're the constituted opposition.
Yes.
Did you check?
Okay. Well, here's the truth. I'm that someone Charles meant. And it's not coloration, it's evidence. I'm the journalist who carried out this investigation, and my findings are based on direct evidence. I spoke on record with EuroAfrica CCI's Deputy Chief of Staff, who categorically said, amongst other things, that no deal whatsoever was signed with the Edo State Government. Listen to him.
You have been misinformed. The deal has not been signed.
Now, this is not opinion. This is not coloration. This is documented evidence. Now, here are the facts. I spoke directly on record with EuroAfrica CCI's Deputy Chief of Staff, who said no deal whatsoever was signed with Edo State Government. Then, I also traced their website. It was only registered in March this year, on the 10th of March, 2025. I called their official contact number, and it connected me to a random woman in Ibadan who had nothing whatsoever to do with them.
I don't speak English. Speaking
Okay.
English.
But it shows that you guys are in Abuja, and this is the number for EuroAfrica CCI.
Then their advisory council includes a man who do not acknowledge any affiliation with EuroAfrica CCI. Then, importantly, their early $300 million agricultural deal never materialized. This, my friend, is not coloration. That is evidence. Now, I understand he was trying to challenge the opposition by basically implying, don't just rely on what people outside government are saying. Did you, as an opposition, also verify? I understand that is what he was trying to do. That is normal in journalism, to push the opposition to show their own credibility instead of simply quoting others. However, by framing it as whatever coloration they have, he directly downplays my investigation as if it could be biased or colored by my personal perspective.
And comes up with their own assessment based on whatever colorations they have.
Now, that phrasing sounded dismissive, suggesting my work might not be objective, even though I literally spoke to EuroAfrica CCI officials themselves and presented hard evidence. So yes, his language carried an undertone of minimizing my work by implying someone with their own coloration rather than an independent journalist with evidence. You see, when the media ran with the headlines, they were repeating government press releases. But when I checked, I found contradictions and silence. That's investigative journalism doing what the media should have done in the first place. So for clarity, to make this clear, my findings are based on direct interviews with EuroAfrica CCI officials, public records, and documented evidence. So this is not coloration, it's hard evidence.
I mean, we'll come to some of these other things,
Yes.
but let me just focus on that $250 million investment deal, which you say doesn't exist and has alarm bells ringing for the people of Edo State. The government may not have officially responded to you, but I mean, individually, they have said, I mean, journalists have made contact with them, including those from Arise, that your position is driven by politics, not facts.
Well, if the opposition is driven by politics, not facts, then show us the facts.
So let me clarify this. First, it was not the opposition party that discovered irregularities with this so-called $250 million deal. It was me. I noticed the red flags. I followed the trail. As we say in journalism, I followed the money and conducted an investigation. Now, secondly, this is not politics. This is evidence. On record, EuroAfrica CCI's own Deputy Chief of Staff told me clearly no deal was signed with the Edo State Government. Listen to his own words.
The deal has not been signed. You have been misinformed.
You heard him, right? So when they say it's opposition politics, let's be clear. This, for me, as an Edo and a Nigerian citizen, is not politics. This is their own representative contradicting the government's claim. He said, without any ifs or buts, that no deal whatsoever was signed. Now, how clear enough can that be?
10%,
Yeah, but
we're going to give them
the
land.
thing has been reported on sort of the Ministry of Information website and all the rest of it, which suggests that the national government has seen whatever it documents. You may not have seen it, but that the national government has seen
But
it
shouldn't it
and
be
has
public?
put his imprimatur on it.
Now, this is very important because Charles is right about one thing. It was reported on the Federal Ministry of Information's website. He's so right about that. But here's the catch. That's exactly where I got my information from. I didn't invent this. I didn't rely on gossips. I read it directly from the Federal Ministry of Information's platform and the Edo State Government's own Facebook page. Then, the question is not about me. The question is, who is misleading Edo people? Because EuroAfrica CCI's Deputy Chief of Staff says no deal was signed. Meanwhile, Edo State Government and even the Federal Ministry of Information published that a deal was signed. Come on, man. Both cannot be true, right? So which one is it? Who is lying? EuroAfrica CCI or Edo State Government? So which one is true?
What is it that you found out about EuroAfrica CCI's capacity and track record that may be causing concern for you?
Now, this was a crucial question, a very important question, and unfortunately, the opposition guest didn't answer it properly. He mentioned that EuroAfrica CCI's website email bounces back, which is true. He also said their website has crashed. That part is half truth, right? The site did crash briefly, But let me just set this record straight. It actually went offline when I was on the phone with EuroAfrica CCI's representative during my investigation, because I was trying to find out something. I discovered the page was down. But after that, after the interview, I realized the page came back online. So it wasn't permanently down. It was down for a while, then it came back online. But here's the bigger issue. What the opposition guest failed to mention is that this same organization had already announced another multi-million-dollar project earlier this year. Yes, you heard me right. In June 2025 this year, EuroAfrica CCI publicly declared that they were investing $300 million in Nigeria's agricultural sector, cocoa production and ranching. And they said this project would run between June and December this year. Now, I asked them directly. I asked the deputy chief of staff. I asked him about this supposed $300 million agricultural project.
So the questions is why should Edo people believe this 250 million deal signed in September if the accountability of this 300 million from June, if it is still very shaky? Yes.
The deal, you have been misinformed.
Did you hear that? Now, instead of showing evidence of the $300 million project sites, financiers, contractors, he started talking about some Navy Admiralty Farm initiative. But that's going to be another video, right? But I asked him, where is the cocoa farm? Where are the ranches? Where is the $300 million? Because if EuroAfrica CCI cannot account for the project they announced in June this year, 2025, then how can Edo people trust them with another supposed $250 million deal in September?
Let me just say that in keeping with the best principles of journalism, the government of Edo State have an absolute right of reply to these allegations that are being made by the Edo State PDP. So you have a right to come on this program and respond to the things that you're hearing at the moment. Please continue.
Now, I have to pause here because, with respect, this framing, I find it misleading. It's misleading. This issue is not about the PDP. It's not even primarily about party politics. It is about Edo people, ordinary citizens who deserve to know the truth. Now, when EuroAfrica CCI's own deputy chief of staff says no deal was signed, that's not a PDP allegation. That is a contradiction of fact. When their official phone number connects to a random woman in Ibadan who spoke Yoruba in D minor, that's not a PDP allegation. That's a verifiable discovery. So, with all due respect, reducing these concerns to PDP allegations is not accurate at all. And frankly, it undermines the voices of Edo people who are demanding transparency, the voices of Edo people who are apolitical. Because let's be clear, right? The people asking questions here are not just politicians. It is journalists, citizens, and Edo people themselves. And we are not doing it for politics. We are doing it for accountability. So let me be clear. This is not about PDP or APC or PDAPC. This is not about opposition politics. This is about truth. It is about accountability. And it is about whether Edo people are being told facts or being fed fanfare. When journalists reduce this to politics. They miss the point. When government hides behind silence, they betray the people they serve. And when organizations like EuroAfrica CCI contradict the very deals announced with fanfare, then the only responsible thing to do is to demand answers